Today I will talk about how to do anything instantly. Sound too good to be true? Good, yes, good, because it is. I really mean through practice, focus, research, science. Okay, and this is a very big topic, so it'll just be a quick intro. Tom actually summarized it beautifully earlier when he said, try different things and keep what works. I'm just going to talk about that with some pretty pictures before and specific ideas after. Tease about some of our bad habits, the general solution of science, and a few specific resources and ideas, like how to be fit in 3 minutes a week. I mean, this Tim Ferriss 4-hour body, like 4 hours, 3 minutes. Which is actually, yeah, I've averaged one workout every 10 days this year and stayed totally fit through these methods, so it works. All right, so here's the problem. A lot of people, even among rationalists, futurists, transhumanists, etc., those of us who ought to know better are eating our way to the singularity, out of shape and figuring that myostatin regulators will just come give us magic muscles easily. You know, we're messy and disorganized while we wait for Rosie the robot maid, or brain-computer interfaces to let us answer our email at the speed of thought. You know, we're so in love with technology, we're constantly distracted by it, even when we could be doing something more fun. Think of more fun things to do with them. Okay. Letting email dominate our lives instead of being a useful tool. Many of us distract ourselves with shiny, fun blogs to get more rational and productive. Okay, surfing the internet to be productive is like buying a chair about jogging. This one down here is a particularly ironic example. So the author, Merlin Mann, is emerging from a book exile. That is, in order to write a book, he stopped reading and writing blogs. So now he's returning to write blogs that will keep other people from writing their books. It's amazing. And although he's actually one of the best, job security. Even though he does that how to use 43 folders says, don't sit around reading this and don't subscribe to it. Search my blog for the thing you want and read it and then stop. But it's not the front page, so most people probably don't read it. All right, are we sitting around depressed, waiting for David Pierce to figure out how to engineer bliss? No. Good. We should instead look for ways to be happy now. I got almost 500,000 Google results for waiting for the singularity. Atheists challenge those who believe in heaven to instead make heaven here on earth. So, are we doing that? Are we making the most of every day of our life right now? Or using the distraction of a shiny imagined future as an excuse not to act today? So we should have some future focus, but not to be all Buddhist, but you can only act in the present. And when you're thinking about the future, you're not doing stuff. So use the future to guide you, but watch out lest it distract you. Specific example, suppose you believe the guy with the beard, not Todd, but the other guy with the beard, that in, say, roughly 25 to 100 years, we'll have rejuvenation technology that gives us, like, long, healthy lives. I would bet that most of us here have a life expectancy right now, if we don't expect crazy things to happen, of like 20 to 50 years. So that's about when the Methuselarity might come. So the 21st century offers, like, unprecedented returns to health. Never before in human history has it been true that each extra year you live might give you a shot at living an extra 1,000 years. So these future health-enhancing technologies are actually a lot more reason to be healthy today. All right, a more controversial example. I'm sure we've all dreamed of having intelligent, autonomous robots to help in our work. And the intelligence explosion view of the singularity is that this will happen because we build intelligence to help us build better intelligence and so forth. But it's possible today to create robots that are autonomous and have human intelligence levels. I had one produced in India this year. Now, it's a time-consuming process, and these robots also have human-level physical limitations and capabilities, but it works. This is a picture of mine. Now, she's not yet autonomous, but I fully expect that in a decade or two she will be, probably more than I want, which is what you expect from an intelligent agent, right? And this is a very costly way to produce intelligent beings, but here's the thing. We are the people who value intelligence, and we believe in long-term investments towards future intelligence. And there's only one present technology to create other intelligent agents that will help us work towards that future. It's the technology that has produced all of the world that we have today. But so few of us seem to use it. I don't know if that's a brilliant point or an excuse to show you all a baby picture, but it doesn't matter. That part is great too. All right. So why is science the answer? So one question is, why is most of our actions not the optimal things to achieve our goals? Which, if you've ever, found much better ways of doing things than you were using before, you should believe. I mean, in most cases, if you do the right thing, it works way better than doing something else. And a simple explanation is just that there are many options, right? Like to come here from Mountain View, there's a lot of directions I could have gone, but most of them, were wrong, like west into the ocean or, south by walking. You have to have feedback, otherwise you don't get optimal solutions. And I'm going to talk briefly about 3 kinds of feedback. The first is evolution, the second is association, and the third is science and consciously directed action and experimentation, which is way better. Okay, evolution, I mean, it works, right? It created us, but it works like within its domain, and we're moving farther and farther from the domain we were designed for. And it's a very, very slow learning method, too slow for us now. An example, let's contrast the waistlines of Paris, France, and Paris, Kentucky. Besides being an excuse to show butt shots, what's interesting is that I don't think that the difference between these two people is their willpower or their goals. What I suspect is that each of them just follows their standard local diet that they and their peer group follow, and both of their standard local diets are very different from what we evolved to eat. And it so happens that the standard American local diet is really bad, makes you store lots more fat. So this is an example of how counting on your evolutionary instincts when you're in a new environment, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So our brains are association machines, right? We map life experiences to the feelings that those experiences evoked. So this lets us learn during our lives to modify these evolved instincts. But it's a pretty slow, ineffective general learning algorithm, many well-documented bugs. It's bad at statistical associations. As Jack Handey said in Deep Thoughts, "To me, clowns aren't funny. In fact, they're kind of scary. I've wondered where this started, and I think it goes back to that time I went to the circus and a clown killed my dad." So he can't unlearn that, right? Jack can't just tell his brain that psycho clowns is not the normal state of things. So we get a lot of false associations because it's not under conscious control. All right, I don't want to be too hard on association because advanced life hacking involves like manipulating your own associations, but you have to do it consciously. Just for fun, my main experience with this was overcoming writer's block by chewing nicotine gum only when working on my book, thus developing a mild addiction to writing. And it worked all right. Anyone got a cigarette? Okay. There is a better way. Instead of using evolved instincts, kind of getting pushed by our instincts through the world, or the semi-random association, we can pull the results we want through a specific process. And it's really such a simple process that most people don't believe it. I'll show examples of how people get off it. But you choose what you want, you research some ways to get it, you try them, you track the results, and every now and then you say, was that working for me? Also known as the scientific method. And people have trouble believing that the scientific method is the answer to all the problems in your life, but it really is. And almost nobody uses it, which is really strange. And the people who do use it end up growing their capabilities and optimizing their lives way better and doing more in less time than people who don't. Sometimes people say, okay, self-experimentation, but it doesn't generalize. Yeah, whatever. It's a sample size of one, the best one, the one that you care the most about how to tweak. It's also, has other benefits. It's very cheap and lightweight, so it lets you test many, many more hypotheses. If you want more benefits of it, Google Seth Roberts unreasonable. So this is as close as there is to like a magic pill of self-improvement. Use science on your life. Whatever you want from future technology, healthier, happier, smarter, more productive, you don't have to wait decades for it. The hard thing is you have to actually do it. Some things work even if you don't believe in them. This is not one of those. Even if you don't do them, this is not one of those things. Some examples. Someone says, I want a better diet. Okay, so then I research, like what nutrition books do my friends think is cool? Oh, this good calories, bad calories thing. I'm going to try to read it. And then I give up halfway through because it's a long technical nutrition book, and I kind of vaguely remember that carbs are bad and fat is good and all the experts are all wrong, and I change my diet a little bit towards fat, and I feel like I accomplished something. This is a fail. So I jumped from like diet to reading a nutrition book. I didn't track. I didn't review. That review is incredibly important. Suppose that after a week I'd said, you know, I've read like a chapter of good calories, bad calories, and I say, what was my goal? What are my methods, and are they working? Like just 5 minutes to ask myself that question, like I would have only wasted a week. But I'm like, this book is fascinating, but it seems a little more detailed than I read, and I don't know that I'm going to finish it. I guess I need to ask a different friend for recommendation of some really quick and easy way to get started on diet. Here's another common one. I want to be more productive. So I go subscribe to a lot of productivity blogs that tell me how to be productive. And what do I learn? I learn that productivity is fascinating. And I can contribute by writing comments. And sometimes people respond, sometimes even the original author. And I get instant feedback. This is great. I can spend a lot of time on this productivity stuff. And it's fun. It's way more fun than doing work. And it's about productivity, so it must be productive. Okay, there's lots of fail we could talk about here. But just notice how easy it is to start this process and then have your kind of instincts or association machine take over, right? Like, there's feedback here. The commenter is getting rewarded for commenting, but the feedback is not training the right behavior. It's training him to comment on blogs, which was not his initial goal. And it's a really dangerous kind of feedback. It's immediate and it's random, which is like highly dopamine addictive. So in the search for productivity, he's addicted himself to wasting time. But he feels like he's productive because he's learning about productivity and associating with those who learn about productivity. So in that kind of emotional, warm, fuzzy brain, he feels like he's meeting his goal. Like, if only he had written in a text file like, goal, be more productive. Method, read productivity blogs first to research. And then looked at it every week. Like, that's it. Merely doing that, he would have avoided this. I mean, maybe he would have decided to keep reading them for fun, but he wouldn't have used this method to achieve the goal. All right. So that was the general method. It sounds too simple to be true, but it works. Just try it. A few ideas of specific techniques on common goals and pointers to good works by people who take the life hacking mindset and have worked on specific problems. Fortunately, most of our goals are common by statistical tautology. Diet. So diet is actually a really neat area for life hacking because it's important. Good techniques work much better than bad ones, but what works is different for different people. Like, it's pretty individualized, so you pretty much have to experiment and measure and revise. Here's my, if you haven't started a diet at all, best advice to start. Don't read any diet books. They're like too long and too hard to stick to, or nutrition books. Just Google pictures of 200 calories and study that page. And build your mental intuition for how many calories something says. Way better than reading any diet or nutrition book. Because once you know, now you can kind of optimize for it. And you can build an intuition about like fillingness and yumminess per calorie, which is kind of your cost, and then minimize calories. Works a lot better than trying to follow some specific diet. Okay, fitness. The benefits per minute of effort of lifting really heavy things dramatically outweighs almost any form of fitness. Like 4 30-second warm-ups and 2 30-second sets once a week. 3 minutes a week. You have to rest for 5 minutes in between each one, but you do your email then. It is dramatically more efficient than anything else. Do squats, 3 minutes once a week. Cardio health, sprint all out for 30 seconds and then rest for a couple minutes and do that 4 or 5 times. Dramatically higher return in fitness per minute than anything else. And you may want to check out, if 3 minutes is too short and you want to learn how to do things in 4 hours, check out Tim Ferriss's book. He's a great life hacker. The explicit goal of this book is, I want to try a lot of things that affect the body and figure out what gets the most results in the least time. That's the stated goal. So besides learning a bunch of specific stuff, like about losing fat, having great sex, etc., you'll also learn the mindset. So Focus and Zen to Done are both by Leo Babauta, who's maybe the most famous and successful life hacker blogger, either him or Tim Ferriss. It's got great advice on how to focus in your work. He makes the great point in Focus that creative work like writing and interruption-driven work like email are enemies. You basically can't do them both at the same time. And it's way, way more efficient to split your day up into periods where you are creating and periods where you are doing this interaction than to just kind of mix them throughout the day. Getting things done, it's a classic. It's not that it has a great system, but it's sort of the first studying getting things done as a process and items and crap in your life as things that we need to manage. Happy, fix your diet and exercise using the techniques mentioned. Meditate 5 to 15 minutes a day. Studies show that just 5 minutes a day has effects. Improve your relatedness. Go to lots of conferences like this. Find your tribe and spend time with them. And a great entry to learn more about happiness hacking is The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt. Want to find other people who want to optimize their lives and achieve their goals using science? Google Quantified Self. I always end talk presentations with a URL, usually like a URL of stuff that I've written that I want people to waste their time reading. But I want you to not waste your time, so I'll just present this URL. It's great productivity advice. Just whenever you think about going to a productivity blog, go to this website. It pretty much says exactly that. Thank you.